place. You listen to them, you validate them, they signal needs to you that you should pay attention to, valuable needs that you must listen to and care for. But they are not the ones driving. It's the truth of God that drives the car. And so our emotions will follow, even if it takes a while. Even if they are screaming and shouting in the back seat, saying, "Are we there yet?" Our emotions is important and valid, but they are not the drivers. God's truth is the drivers. And we have this beautiful privilege tonight to hear from Sureen Herbst. She's going to be sharing her beautiful story and about just all the different big, painful, and traumatic events that God has used in her life to open up her eyes to her will, for His will for her, and all the beautiful things He wants to do through her. Welcome, Sureen. It's awesome having you. I have your mic for you right there. Won't you please just quickly tell us a little bit about you and your family? Yes.
100%. Good evening, everyone. Welcome here. I see it's a much younger group than in the morning. So, I hope that the stories that I'm going to share with you has value so that you can understand that you should just hold on. You should not let go and let the life and things that happens in life overwhelms you. It should not, because God is there. He has got the line. He is your lifeline. And because of that, we are here today. So,
who are you? And who are you? And who are you? Your family, and who are you married to? Just give us some context about you.
So, guys, I just want to tell you, I'm not a professional speaker, so I'm going to speak from my heart. And I've asked God to really show me what I must tell you today. So that is what I'm going to do. I was born in 1962. My name is Sureen Herbst, like everybody knows. My nickname is Lally, and I share it with you tonight because I'd like you to see me like that. The people that love me and that I love call me Lally. So in future, please don't call me Sureen. My husband is here tonight. I met him in 2007. And Ati is 15 years younger than I am. I'm 63. And that 15 years, I want to share tonight with you guys, is absolutely a plan from God. It is not something that I planned or that I walked into. It's a plan from God. And that plan I will share with you a little bit later. But first, let me tell you more about myself. I've got 5 children, 3 of my own. My eldest daughter is 38. My second daughter, she's here tonight. She's 36 years old, Arushka. And my son, I think, is also here. He's 30 years old, turned 30 on the 27th of June. And then I've got my worker here tonight, Joseph. He's been helping and working with us on our small holding, and he shared our life with us. I just want to...
Yes.
Okay. Then I've got 2 other boys, which is Ati's boys. They are 23 and 21. And they're not here tonight. One is overseas, one is in Kempton Park. But they have been part of our lives since they were 2 and 4 years old, holding on to my legs and walking all after me everywhere. And I love my children to pieces. And I will walk the road for them as much as God will walk the road for you. So, just about my career a little bit, just so that you know I had a career somewhere long ago. I've got a degree in marketing and sales. I've got a fashion designing degree. I'm a professional diver. We are photographers, Ati and myself. And we have shared a lot of things. But I left the career life and the rat race 9 years ago, and I started my own business, all in faith. Because my first income from my own business were 260 Rand. And I'm not lying, it's 260 Rand. And I said to God, I can't live on 260 Rand. Please, I can't. And it grew. Today, 9 years later, I'm so blessed. I've got 4,000 cameras at Glencore in Woodbank. God has blessed me, and God has blessed Ati and myself, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been here. He supports me, he helps me, and that is where we are today.
Sure, but Lali, if I can, Lali,
Yes,
I love hearing your heart and how you live from God's hand. I can hear how you, with such faith, you're living from God's hand, and I know that it's been a journey. It's been a journey to get to that place and that posture, to know that He is the one looking after you, He's the one fighting for you, He's the one, providing for you. And I know you're here actually to speak about your train accident, but quickly just give us some of the other big events in your life that God has used.
So just to walk a little bit back into my life, because if I talk about everything, I'm going to stand here the whole night. So I'm just going to touch on a few things, the most important things, and the reason why I'm here tonight. So I was brought up mainly in a boarding school. At age 10, I was taken away from my parents, and it was a decision that I took, and I was in court myself. And I could only see what was right in front of my eyes. I could see only alcoholic mom, alcoholic father, and which of the two was the worst at that stage. I didn't understand why they were like that. And I had to make a decision. I was standing there in court. I've got a brother that's 2 years younger than I am, and I had to make a decision for both of us. And I looked at both evils, and I thought, all right, I'm going to choose my father, because he looks the most sane to me. And that was the worst decision of my life. Because he can't look after me, because he's away at work. So the court decided that both of us are going to boarding school. And we were left there, we were dropped there, and we didn't come home. 6 months, 8 months out of the year, that is where we lived. I spent most of my life on the training fields, on the sport fields, just to get away from that treacherous decision that I have made. And only today I realized that I had to make the decision to be the person I am today. So there was quite a few other decisions that I made as well. I got married in 1984, and I met my husband, or my first husband. I had two, just for the sake of that. The first one, I met him in 1979 when I was in Standard 9, grade 11. And I thought he would help me get out of my life where I was. But you know, that doesn't work like that. And when I made the decision, my mom said to me, Sureen, you're making a mistake. And I didn't want to listen to her, because she didn't want to look after me. So I made the wrong decision there. Again, I then married. I was married for 18 years, 18 very long years. It was very, very painful. And I want to share with you today all the little things, the decisions that I've made that caused me all the problems. So in 1999, I got divorced. And I had 3 children, and those 3 children I had to look after. I didn't have a house. I didn't have a car. I didn't have any place to go for. And at that stage, I did not have a job. The reason why I didn't have a job, because each time in the old days, if you get pregnant, you have to reapply, and then your career stops there, and you need to restart it again. So I applied for a position at Bidvest in 1999, just after I got divorced, and I got that position, and that kicked off my career. What was interesting is that is also where I met my husband. So in 2002, I moved back to Harties. And in Harties, I first rented my house. And the house, and I said to God, I cannot do this. And I just want to take a step back before I carry on. When I was still in boarding school, I prayed one night and I said to God, please, you need to intervene and you need to help me. And I said, I made a promise that I'm going to give my life to him. And and I stuck to it, but because of my own decision, and I said, because I'm Sureen, I'm strong, I've gone through all these things, I can do it on my own. But you can never do it on your own. So I became lukewarm again.
Sureen, we all here and excited to also hear about, the big accident. So I'm going to leave you to tell us what's on your heart and what God has placed on your heart to share tonight.
Okay, 100%. Okay, so this story is all about grace. And the grace and the glory is not mine or because I've made it. The grace and the glory belongs to God. And I want you guys to understand that. Because if you don't, then you are going to be swept around like the sea, the water that flows back and through. The sea is just going to throw you around. So tonight, I've made a little bit of a presentation, and I'm going to step here so that I can see the presentation and talk about it. So all of our lives is like puzzles that's on a puzzle board. The puzzle board is already laid out by God many, many years, even before we're born. But we, because we've got free choice, we build the puzzles and we place the puzzles on the puzzle board. But if we don't listen to God, we eventually become lukewarm. And that is why I want to share this with you tonight. Because God is real and He's not an illusion. And we always want to know, is that the truth or is it not? And I want to show you tonight how true God actually is. So my story is about grace, undeserved. And we can never look back and say, it's because we've deserved it. That is why we've got money in the bank. It's because we've worked hard. That's why we've made it. It's not about that. It's all about His grace. So this is where the story began, in 2003. It started like any other morning. It was the 10th of March. The summer just passed, so it was slowly getting into winter. And I had to get up in the morning, on my own. I had no husband, so therefore I had to get up, take the children to the school. I had a lady that worked for me at that time. Her name was Violet. And bless her soul, and I hope where she is today, because she retired, that she will be blessed. So I woke up. I never, and I want to tell you this, I never spent my 15 golden minutes with God that morning. I did not. I cannot stand here to say I did, because I didn't. This is very important. So the morning rush started. I woke up at 4:45. The lady came in at 5 o'clock. We started preparing the food, getting the kids ready, giving them coffee, making porridge, all the normal things that all of you guys, the young mothers, they know what the rush is all about. I'm sure they do. So this is what the children look like in the morning when you try and you wake them up. They've got that face. They cover their face. They don't want to get up. It's too cold. It's screaming. It's shouting. But yes, you have to basically get your kids up, and you need to get them to school. So my children at that age were 10 years old, 8 and 15. So yeah, it was like this. Got them ready, checked their school clothes. Some of them, they were in broodies, and the elder children were in the high school, in hotties. So it was a whole mission trying to get them ready. This is what it looks like. One big rush to school. So getting them ready, dropping them, the one at the school bus, the other at the school itself. But yes, one big rush in the morning. Why I'm showing you this is my first vehicle that I bought from my own money after my divorce. And there's a reason why I'm showing you this vehicle. I want you to look at it, because this is what it looks like before a train hits it. So I rushed to work. I had an appointment with my company. The first client that I signed up when I started working at Bidvest. I started working there in 1999. I signed this client up, and I signed him up for a 5-year contract. It was a 65 million rand project. Very important client for me, because not just for my promotion, but for my income, for the stabilization of my children and everything. This was a very important client. So this specific morning, I dropped them off at 6:30, and I was watching, listening to the news, trying to get through the traffic. And I think this is everybody's morning. They're trying to get through the traffic. And about 7 o'clock that morning, I was watching the clock, because I have to be at my client exactly 8:15. I timed it. It takes me 45 minutes to get to my client from Hartbeespoort to Pretoria North. Now, I'm not sure if you know where South African Banknote Company is, in Pretoria North. It's on the corner of Van Riebeeck and Rasblaar Road. And they're right at the back. Now, these people print our money in South Africa, and they still do that today. The camera system that I supplied, or my company supplied, that I quoted and worked for so long, was the one that's going to show you the story and the reality that God is alive. This is the train railway track. Now, if you look at the track, it goes from one side right down to the other side. So it's like, and it's 2 railway tracks. So from the left, It goes right through to the right. This is the aerial view of the railway, the route. This is a Google Map photo I took from Google Maps, and this was taken in 2004. This is the closest one that I could get to 2003. And the reason why I've taken it is to just show you that there's two tracks and what it looks like. This is a close-up of the railway track. And I want to share with you something. If you look there, there's a yield sign there, and there's two crosses on it. You can't really see it now anymore. This is what it looked like in 2003. There's no booms, no lights, no nothing, not on any of the sides. And I had to drive down here and stop there. This is what it looks like today, a totally different story. You'll see, oh goodness. Oh, just want to go back, sorry about that. You can see there's robots, there's booms, there's stop signs, and it's very, very well marked. In 2003, it didn't look like this. But in any way, so the morning, I stopped here at the stop sign there. I want to go back because that is what it actually looked like. I stopped there and I was thinking by myself. I looked left. It was it was 5 minutes to 8. And I turned and I looked to the left and I saw nothing. And I looked to the right and I saw nothing. All I saw was overgrowth of that from the people's gardens, and I saw trees, and I didn't see, there was nothing else. And I thought, all right, I can pass through, I can go over this railway track. That is when it happened. It was in that moment when I looked to the left again that I saw a light. And when I saw this light, in my mind, I couldn't identify what it was. It was totally a light of, I thought it was God that just took me away at that stage. And I felt I was safe. That's all I felt. I felt safety. I felt somebody holding me. And I still couldn't understand it. My brain could not grasp it. That is when I just spoke a few words. And those words weren't screams. It weren't shouts. It was just, God help. Please, God help. That's all. The next minute, I looked down and I saw something. And this is what I saw. I saw a green Picasso Citroen that was in an accident. And I saw a train hitting this green car. And I couldn't understand what it was. And I just looked down and I saw it. And I said, God, these people are in an accident. And you need to do something. And then I realized it was me that was in that accident. my brain could not fathom it. My brain couldn't process it. And that feeling of safety just left me. And I was back in the car. The side, there on that side that I was sitting in, was brand new. You can't, it is as if it was from a dealership. I was sitting, the chair had not one piece of glass on me, nowhere. I had nothing on me. The steering wheel was still in perfect condition. The dashboard right in front of me was in perfect condition. Just when I looked around and I looked at the car, it was folded around me. And it was crazy. I couldn't believe it. I looked at myself, I looked at my hands, I looked at my dress, my shoes, my stockings that I had on. I had a little black dress on. There was not a mark, a scratch. My stockings did not have one ladder in it. Nothing was on me. I opened the door as if I'm fine. I opened it. I got out of the car. I looked around me, and I still had my heels on, like I'm today, still had my heels on. And I walked, and I thought by myself, oh my goodness, this is quite difficult to walk on. And I walked for 10 meters. And I looked back, and I realized, that this train just hit my car. It swept the car for 100 meters along the track. It threw the car off against a telephone pole. That telephone pole. And my camera system that I have installed, or my company installed at SA Banknote Company, is responsible, well, not responsible, took all the photos that I'm showing you tonight. It took everything. That is going back. Is an actual news clip, and the newspaper is the record. It's dated, and you can see it there, the 11th of March, 2003. I walked out of that. There you can see my steering wheel still. Unharmed. Nothing. Not a mark, not a scratch. I then walked 10 meters, and I saw the people around me starting to scream and shout. And I thought, why are they shouting like that? And then I fainted, and I think I fainted. And then a gentleman, I just looked up, and there was a gentleman, and he was from the medical services. And he spoke to me very softly, in a very, very soft voice. And he said to me, lady, you've been in a train accident, and you have to lie down. And I said to him, why? I'm fine. He says to me, you've been in a very serious accident. You have to lie down. So I made a decision, and I lied down. There was a stretcher and everything. And the next thing, and I looked up at him, and he had these blue, blue eyes. And for a moment I thought, maybe I'm dreaming all this. Maybe I am in heaven, because he's got these blue, blue eyes. And I thought, yeah, maybe it is an angel. And then the next thing came out of his mouth, And he said to me, ma'am, we'll have to cut open your dress. And Sureen came back. I said to him, you're not cutting my dress. Firstly, it is a very expensive dress. Secondly, I'm not going to lie naked in front of people. Yeah, there's a lot of people. I can hear them now. I'm not going to lie naked. And he said to me, but we need to make sure there's no internal injuries. And I said to him, aren't you listening to my voice? Aren't you listening to me? I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with me. And then he spoke to me very softly, and I'm always a sucker for that. If you speak softly to me, I listen. If you shout at me, I can't hear you. So I want to share with you. So they took me to hospital, and that was on the 10th of March. They did a serious, you've got no idea how many tests they've done for 2 days solid. They did x-rays, they did internal tests, blood tests. Oh, I had to breathe for alcohol, and I don't really drink, so yeah. But yeah, it was 8 o'clock in the morning. But they did tests for 2 days solid. Then on the 12th of March, I think it was 9:15, if I remember correctly, they had to listen and they had to release me. So I was released at 9:15 on the 15th of March after all these thousands and crazy tests that they've done. That is a real copy of the discharge form from the hospital. And I wanted to share it so that you can see it is real. It's not a story that I've made up. That is my form from Avis, where I rented a vehicle, because I obviously didn't have a vehicle afterwards. That is my claim form, just to show you how real it is. I had to show you what it looks like, and I had to describe it. But now I want to share with you that if I didn't have faith, and if I did not call to God, I wouldn't have been here today. And faith is not something that you can touch. It's not something that you can see. It is blind faith. It is a hope in the things that you can't see. That is what faith is. So what I've done is I've just sort of put a little summary together to share with you what faith is. It's trust, belief without seeing, all the verses I've put up there. It is dependence on God, and it is absolute surrender. If you don't surrender to Him, your faith means nothing. I've also decided that I'm going to put a slide up on grace to tell you that grace to us is a free gift. It's not something that we can work for. It's not something that we can earn. It's not something that you can buy. It doesn't matter how many times. It is absolutely about grace, and it's a free gift from God. So how do we define God? I've looked at it and I can't define it. And I've written a few things that I found in the Word, and it's only in the Word of God that you can define it. It's unmerited favor and kindness and mercy. It's never-ending love. It's strength from our weakness, because that is when He shows us His strength. And it's new beginnings. If I say new beginnings, it is absolutely a new view of looking at Him. So I just want to say thank you and thanks for listening.
Sureen, we so appreciate you sharing this beautiful story with us, and don't you just appreciate the urgency that we can hear from her speaking for everybody to know how real God is, how good He is, and how big His grace is. And we know that He will still use this story in many people's lives, and you as a powerful tool in His hand to reach people. Sureen, thank you so much.
I just want to share something with you guys. And I want you to take this away because this is real. I've been through my divorce. I've been in 5 smash and grabs. I've been held up at gunpoint twice. But that was not as bad as a laying on the altar that I had to do when I had to offer my husband up 2 years ago. Because I'm a very strong person with a very strong presence. And I wanted to bring him to God and say, I did it. I saved him. But I didn't. God said to me, only if you silent and you step back and you give him to me, I will give him back to you. And I had to be quiet for 4 months and let God do His work. And I want to tell you guys, if you are just quiet and listen to the things and you look back over your life and listen to the little things that He does for you, you will meet with